So today's video is going to be a very short one based on some comments on yesterday's video. And the one thing that when I read it for the first time, I thought was so random. But now that I read it with other lenses on, I think this is a fascinating line and really plays a large role into the actual theory that I'm going to craft right here. Well, not really, I'm not going to craft this. This is just like a theory that I want to talk about very briefly. So in yesterday's video, I talked about how I perceived that Wormtongue was using some kind of magic of words to poison the mind of Théoden. And it wasn't really like a hard and fast spell casting kind of magic, but that the words of Grima continually spoke to Théoden just went and poisoned his mind and bones and held him captive. Not just a metaphorical poisoning, like a lot of people kind of have this idea of. It felt like a literal poisoning to me, which is what the words of Tolkien kind of just felt like to me. But there's another component here that I actually find interesting, that Théoden is being drugged. Now, some of you in the comments and in a post I threw up yesterday just said, wait, it's in another section in an obscure passage that not a lot of Tolkien fans even know about. So I just want to let you know too, I am reading this for the first time, so I don't really know the deep lore like that, which is another shameless plug to subscribe if you want to vicariously live through me reading it for the first time as I publish video essays about my thoughts. But the obscure passage in mind is, after I asked our Discord, was in a section in the Unfinished Tales. And bear in mind, as many of you know, the Unfinished Tales, as people in our Discord have said, are unfinished and sometimes contradict the work and are considered kind of like soft canon. And so they leave only the possibility that he was being poisoned. But it says in this passage in section 5 of the Battle of the Fords of Isen, Théoden's aging being possibly because of subtle poisons administered by Grima, which is wild. But without really knowing the passage that some people are referring to, in like depth, I don't really want to cause a big debate if that passage isn't really something that's like thoroughly applicable to this, because I don't really know or understand the whole legendarium yet and what's really canon and what's not. And so that one's just gonna kind of get thrown out a little bit. You can debate that one in the comments a little bit. But I want to make an amendment to yesterday's video with part of the story that I found so weird on my first read, but so illuminating for just this one single point. It's the moment that Théoden comes out of his stupor. This is what the book says. "Here, Lord, is Herogrim, your ancient blade," he said. "It was found in his chest. Loth was he to render up the keys. Many other things are there which men have missed." "You lie," said Wormtongue. "And this sword your master himself gave into my keeping." "And he now requires it of you again," said Théoden. "Does that displease you?" "Assuredly not, Lord," said Wormtongue. "I care for you and yours as best I may. But do not weary yourself or tax too heavily your strength. Let others deal with these irksome guests. Your meat is about to be set on the board. Will you not go to it?" Like Grima, you are about to be banished or even killed because of what you did to the king, and you are concerned about him eating his dinner. It seems to me like Grima may have potentially been drugging his food in this moment, and he is hoping that Théoden goes back to his meat, so maybe he drinks this wine that he drugged for him falling back into this stupor. And so Théoden might fall back into his hands, and this is maybe his last-ditch effort to hope that that happens. But I think this is so fascinating, and my mind is kind of set ablaze with this now. It does make sense, too, that he would be treating him like a geriatric old man, too, here, which is another interpretation that I initially had. He's essentially saying, like, go back to your meat and, like, let, you know, the grown-ups deal with this business. But this sentence, to me, just feels like Tolkien put something out on a belief about drugging, and then maybe edited that out of the chapter, but kept this in there as a really subtle like hint of something else devious going on. Anyway, let the debate ensue. I just wanted to throw this out there as an interesting idea. Not sure if it's a reality, but still cool to think about the layers that exist within the Tolkien text and the interesting ways to interpret what he wrote. I love the multi-interpretation views and all the different ways that people interpret his text and all the different comments that I get about like different ways that you guys interpret it. So please keep hitting me with those. I think it's so fascinating. Make sure you like this video and subscribe too if you're not already subscribed. And I will see you in the next one.